I oversee all of our content partnerships, and what that means is ensuring that they have the tools they need to best monetize their inventory. I also work with our programmatic demand partners, so think of the SSPs and DSPs out there, and working with them to ensure that they're getting the premium inventory they need with all the signals that are important to them.
So let's talk about those guys. Like, what are some of the challenges that DSPs and SSPs are facing now, especially around CTV?
Yeah, there is a cornucopia of challenges these platforms are facing. I think we can all agree that programmatic is a very complicated, complex ecosystem straight out the gates. To compound that, there is a lot of competition now within the SSP and DSP world. And right now they're really looking for unique and valuable ways to have a competitive edge. For SSPs, a lot of the challenges they face are largely around really figuring out ways to best value their streaming partners' inventory. We have seen a huge influx in content consumption to the point where supply is superseding demand by a landslide. So for an SSP, in order for them to provide value to their customer, they need to provide custom solutions that address the challenges they have. I think today a big one is, standardizing metadata, passing content signals. Just having some level of standardization across the bid stream, I think, is becoming really challenging for them. On the same token, for DSPs, they're working with their advertisers to more largely adopt streaming. Look at it as an extension of regular cable television and spend accordingly. For DSPs, I think one of the main challenges is providing the tools for the precise targeting that's necessary for advertisers to reach the right viewer and at the right time. At Wurl, one of our biggest responsibilities is to our publisher and making sure that we are providing them with the tools that they need to best value their supply. So in order for us to do that, it's been really critical for us to understand the challenges of the DSPs so we can kind of come in at the intersection between the two to provide solutions.
Gotcha. So explain to me, how would that actually work? Like, how do you help them do that?
Yeah, so what's really great, Wurl has just released a new product called Brand Discovery. And it's our contextual targeting solution, and it's powered by generative AI, where we're actually analyzing the content right before the ad break, giving advertisers the ability to target contextually relevant and at a time where the audience is emotionally primed for that type of creative. One of the examples I like to give is, you're watching an episode of Friends. You're expecting comedy, right? That's the overarching genre. But there's, of course, scenes within it that could be sad, right? Ross and Rachel are breaking up. You want to make sure that you're not overly categorizing a genre and putting just a completely disruptive ad right after an intense scene. So what Wurl's doing is we're providing that mechanism for the publisher to enrich their bid stream signals to include these targetable segments. So the advertisers can say, okay, I would like to target trust high, right? We have the 8 core emotions at 3 different intensity levels. So what we're doing here is we're kind of stepping in as the partner to bridge the gap between SSPs and DSPs in that respect.
No, that's great. You made me feel better too, because we use a very similar example when I explain to people what the value of contextual is. I always say it's like, you don't want your funny ad running during the funeral scene, even if it's a sitcom.
Exactly. And at the dinner table, talking with my in-laws, the example that always hits with them is, I say, my kids want an ice cream cone. They know that between mom and dad, I'm the softie. I'm the one who's going to say yes. So I am their target audience in this situation. But timing really plays a critical component as well. If we're in the backyard playing, it's a sunny afternoon, they ask me for an ice cream, absolutely, you may have an ice cream. It's a positive experience for them. If I'm in the middle of cooking dinner on that same Saturday afternoon, they're not going to get such a nice response from me. They're going to get a no. So that's the way I like to distill it down to just the purity of an ad and what the impact and outcome that we're hoping to achieve. It really is a combination of audience and timing.
No, excellent. So let's talk about where we are now, Cannes. Yes. What are you hoping to get out of this? And then talk to me a little bit about, let's just start with that and then we'll go to the next one.
Sure. Look at us. Cannes is the mecca of inspiration, innovation, and creativity. And I think it's just a very, the energy that exudes here is just, it's really inspiring. And I think we're at a time right now where contextual and AI, those two words are used in almost every conversation. And because Wurl is focusing in on those categories, one of the interesting things for our team in coming to Cannes this year is really learning more about the different players in market. Also to share about the products that we're releasing and how excited we are about solving some of the fundamental issues within our ecosystem. There's so much to see here. I feel like I'm barely scratching the surface, but it's been a really positive experience. This is one of the first years Wurl has really had a significant presence.
Great. And I was going to ask you can explain, like, what are some of the coolest things you've seen so far?
To be honest, it's been a lot of meetings so far, so a lot of great conversations. I'm hoping this afternoon to visit some of the activations of our partners. Tubi has a beautiful booth. Netflix has a whole rooftop over there. So really just, looking forward to spending some time with those companies and learning more about what their goals are for the year.